What it is, ladies. What
What's
it
up?
is, gentlemen. My future's so bright I have to wear shades. Zoom, zoom,
You look
zoom. Making badass closers up in this biscuit. Where we got Ali Sharafuddin from Acez Academy up in here today. What's up?
What's up, B Money?
But he's got an extensive background in sales and closing. He came in here to get a VT system one time. He's kind of a young dude. He keeps turning around companies and he's got everything documented, like framework. And I thought to myself, dude, like I like that kind of organization. So, cause I'm the opposite. Like I'll spew freaking nuggets left and right, but you got to pick them up when they spit out. Someone like Ace, he's got shit frameworked out and documented, which gives you guys that tangible stuff I think people really like. So I asked him if he'd come in here and share some of his wisdom here in Closer School Live. And Ali, these are the people that are generally here every week. I get 40 or 50 that pop on live every week, and then about another 700 or 800 that go through the replay for whatever reason they can't get on at this time. So remember that you're talking to not only the people here, but people are going to be watching this and going through it with repetition and taking any extra precaution to actually learn what you have to say.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Thanks for having me. And I'm glad to be here. And the good thing about sales is, me and Brad talk about this a lot, but it applies to everything. So it really doesn't matter what industry you're in. Sales is going to apply there. You guys could all hear me, right? Thumbs up. All right, beautiful. Let me share the screen. Let's get the show started for you guys. Beautiful. I got a little presentation for you here, B Money. Keep it documented and organized for you. We're going to go backwards on this for you. Sneak peek, sneak peek. All right, the art of closing. So thanks again for having me. My name is Ace. I met Brad last year. He's been a great mentor for me, and I'm sure for a lot of you. As you see, I have his book behind me here. I only keep books for mentors and legends behind me, and he is one of them. So I've been selling for the last 20 years. I came here, with my parents not knowing a word of English. I had a lot of responsibilities at a young age. Sales was my avenue to get me out, to change my life, to change my family's life, to retire my parents. And it started with starting a distribution company, selling cell phone chargers to gas stations, all the way up to selling catalogs to hotel and franchises. Then I started doing mortgages for 10 years. And I realized as I went, I kept documenting things. And once I found a formula that worked, I kept it with everything that I sold. And I found a talent that I had at a mortgage company where I would take struggling salespeople that weren't doing well, and I'd simplify things for them and show them, hey, man, it's not that tough. If you look at it this way, if you use your personality a little, if you have a little fun, we can get this done. And I started changing people's careers around, became a team leader, and now I'm mentoring and training companies for all sorts of things. So I'm glad to be here with you guys, and I'm glad to inspire you and provide some value. So I'm going to talk about, closings and objections, because I think that's where it comes in, the art of closings. You have objections and you have the closings. A great sale or a great presentation or a great friendship or a great relationship doesn't apply a closing, because once you do your job correctly and you have the right scenario, it closes itself most of the time. But we can't control every single scenario, and there are some things that are out of our control. So the first thing I always ask is, do they like you? Before your product, before your service, before anything about yourself, does the person on the other end of the phone or the person on the other end of the table like you? So it comes down to the relationship. And when I think about relationship building, like I go to some stores sometimes where I buy something from somebody, and it's more expensive. I could get it cheaper somewhere else. A great example of that is I buy a watch from my jeweler. Okay, my jeweler is not the cheapest person in town. The reason I buy a watch from him is because I like that person. I trust that person. I know if anything happens to my watch, I could take it back to that person. I know I could probably find it cheaper on StockX. I have friends that have jewelers that tell me they could get me this necklace cheaper, but I go to him because I like him. So does that person like you? And what comes into liking you? So the first thing I say, and I use a lot of analogies, that's a foreshadow for you guys. And if anybody has questions, please feel free to stop me, take off the mute, ask me a question specifically, and I'd love to dive in. I'll also give you some time at the end. But number one, I say a sale is like a blind date. I'm married now, so I don't do much blind dates. But if you've ever done a blind date or know somebody that's done them, typically we try our best on a blind date. We try to look good. We try to smell good. We try to feel good before we go there. We try to have some jokes lined up. We smile. We get to know that person. We share stories about ourselves, and we get stories about the other person. And typically in a blind date, the resolution statistically of most blind dates it doesn't really churn into something. There are a small percentage that do, and God bless those people. But the end of a sale or the result of a sale is getting you closer to your goals, making you more money, building your business, whatever the scenario is. So I always ask people, why would we prep ourselves? And why would we try so hard on a blind date but not try that hard on a sale? Why do we not make jokes on a sale? Why do we not get to know somebody on a sale? Why do we not look good, feel good, smell good, smile? Why don't we do all the same things that we do in a blind date inside of a sales interaction. And when I told my team that, we had a competition that was called a blind date competition, and all we focused on was making people like us for the first 5 to 10 minutes of a phone call. And this is when we were selling mortgages. And I kid you not, our sales doubled that week just because we called it a blind date and we rated each other on how many jokes we made in that sale interaction, how many times we shared stories, how many times we got stories. We tallied them up all week, and people's production went up and they were doing better, all because they were having fun and getting to know somebody. So if you compare your last sales interaction to a blind date, what would you rate yourself 1 out of 10? Number 2 is creating the need for somebody. If I want somebody to like me, obviously a sale is not about a relationship only and making a friendship. The person wants a service or wants a product. They want to know why you're going to be that person to give them the best deal or the best product or the best service. So how do you create the need for somebody? Well, if you want me to do your landscape, and I'm trying to sell you my landscaping company, which I don't do and I've never done, but just to give you a quick example, I'm going to ask you things to create the need. I might ask you, Brad, how do you like your ideal landscape to look? How often do you like somebody coming here? The last person that came here, if you could change one thing about their service, what would it be? So these are the kind of questions I would ask you to figure out about your landscape dreams. So that way, when I come back with my presentation, I could solve all your problems or address all your concerns or make all your dreams a reality. So when you think about your product or service that you sell, what are 5, 6, 7, 8 ways you have that you create the need for your product, that you make somebody really feel the need for your product, and that you build that value throughout a phone call. Number 3 part of relationship building, I think, is sharing stories and getting stories. So many times in sales for me, when I'm talking to somebody, it's mostly about our lives. A lot of times my clients been through a divorce. I talk about my brother's divorce and I share stories about that, get stories, see how I can help them out in their life. What's changed in your life because of the divorce? How are things tougher for you? How could my service or product be, something that lightens up that load for you? One of my clients has, real estate. If they invest in real estate, we talk about real estate investing for 20 minutes. And a lot of times it has nothing to do with my sale, but I'm building the relationship based off the stories that I get from them. And at the end of the call, hey, that's a real good dude. I really like Alex. I really like Ace. He gave me some good tips about investing. And now my sale is based off real estate investing, but I'm not selling real estate and I'm not selling an investment portfolio. It's just because we created the relationship based off that need. Number 4 is open doors. A lot of salespeople get stuck. They say, well, I'm trying to build a relationship. I'm trying to, make jokes. I'm trying to get to know somebody, but it seems like they just want to get straight to the point. What tips do you have for me? Well, open doors is a tip that I have for you. When I talk about an open door in a sale, it's pretty much any spot in your sales interaction that you could dig in and get more from somebody. For example, if I hear a baby crying in the background, that could be an open door for me. Sometimes I hear salespeople that ignore a crying baby in the background, and I'm shocked by it. Why would you just ignore that? It's a great place to dig in and learn a lot about somebody. How many kids do you have? How many are you planning to have? How old are they? I have a kid too. When's the birthday? When's this? You could build a lot of rapport and relationships from open doors. Another open door, like why doesn't somebody on the call get off mute and tell me what you sell and tell me an open door that you could think of? Let me get you guys involved a little here. Who wants to jump in? Do I have to call out a name? Do I got somebody? Why don't you start off by just stating your name for me because I can't see everybody.
Sure, Alok.
Alok, nice to meet you. What do you do, brother?
I build products for coaches.
So Alok, so you make coaching programs for people? Is that what you said?
Products.
Coaching products. Okay. Where's a spot for you in your interaction with somebody that you could open the door and get to know them a little more?
I actually had a call today with a guy, really great guy. His kids have, I don't want to say the exact condition, but they've got a medical condition. And we spent the first 20 minutes of the call just talking about his kids. And we didn't even talk about anything related to my product for the first 20 minutes. And that built a lot of connection between us.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. And what's crazy? Probably the emotion that you got from him and his kid is probably the reason he's doing this coaching thing and probably the reason he needs your help even more. Would you agree?
I would say his kids are a big part of his life, especially with that medical condition. So by me knowing that, we've built a huge rapport, right? Where most people don't have that open, they don't open the door and they might just blow over that while he's sitting with that emotion. So I actually sat with him 20 minutes, unpack that whole thing. And now we have a stronger relationship.
Exactly. And that's a beautiful thing because, if somebody else calls him that does the same exact service that you provide, I guarantee you those 20 minutes you spent with him talking about his kids and the condition, nobody else would do. And that's going to give you the competitive advantage to answer your call or do business with you over somebody else because of that open door you went through. And sometimes it takes a couple layers to do this. That's why number 5 is 3 layers deep. Sometimes I ask somebody, why is this for the landscape again? Landscape is tough. That's why I use it as an example. I do finances and save people money, so it's a lot easier. But landscape, why is this landscape really important to you? Why do you want to have this dream landscape outside your house? And they might say, well, I've always wanted something like that. I say, I know, but what's the real reason you really want this landscape? What is it? Well, my wife always told me our landscape was ugly and I wanted to make it nicer. And what's the true reason that your wife wants this landscape? Well, because we've always wanted our dream home for our kids to play outside, just like my brother's house had it. We never had the opportunity to get it. Sometimes just asking a couple of times will get that out of them, When I ask somebody, how's your day going today? And they say, it's just going. That right there is an open door. It's just going. Like, that person's not happy right now. They're probably struggling. They're probably not happy with their day. So you know what I say? What's going on? It seems like, you're not having the best day. How could I help? Well, I had a long day at work. My boss cut the hours, and then I start uncovering more about them just from a side. So a lot of times you hear cues throughout the phone call that you could open doors and go in them, but great salespeople go inside every single door, sweep it, mop it, and come out. Average salespeople just do the surface level things, do things that only that show, and they don't go into anything else. And for number 6, I said, talk about everything other than the sale. Alok just said that right now. They talked 20 minutes, probably out of 30-minute conversation, 20 minutes was about the kids. When you talk 20 minutes to me about my son, which is my pride and joy tattooed on my chest, why I do everything here for. If you talk to me for 20 minutes about my son, you give me some tips about some things I'm struggling with about my son. Do you think that I'm going to pick somebody else over you that didn't even mention my son? What kind of human being would I be? I'd probably lose sleep from doing that, even if their cost is cheaper than you, because I appreciate you. We built a relationship, and that's going to last longer than the sale. So that's what I have for you guys about do they like you. These are 6 things I think about in a sales interaction about making somebody like you and building a relationship. And Alok had the perfect example to go with that. Does anybody have any questions on building a relationship before we move on to the topic of this class, which is closer school? Do the 5-second rule. All right, beautiful. Let's move on. If you have a question, you could hit me with it. Preparation is what comes to my mind next. If you know every single place in a phone call you're going to get an objection, would you still get those same objections? When I ran a sales team, a lot of times we had to work the weekends when the market gets tough. Like right now in the mortgage industry, the market's a little tough. So when the market got tough in the mortgage industry, typically we had to work the weekend. Most people on my team didn't want to work the weekends, which I knew, so I had to prepare for those objections mentally. So what did I do? I foreshadowed on Monday, we're going to work the weekend. I threw a contest out on Wednesday about production over the weekend. I talked to people individually about their plans on the weekend, and I worked around those plans. And then when Friday came around and we had to, come in for the weekend and sign up for our hours, everybody was prepared to sign up for the weekend. Other leaders would come up to me and tell me, why you, how do you get everybody coming on the weekend, man? We can't even get half our team to show up. They're getting upset. It's because you're not preparing them to come in for the weekend. And I think that relates exactly to knowing your client's objections. You typically get the same objections from the same exact client. So if you get the same objections from the same client, wouldn't you start knowing, like when you're talking to somebody, you could kind of sense it. You have a cue for it. You have temperature gauges that you throw out there on the call to feel it. Like for me, if somebody tells me they have spreadsheets on their desk and they're comparing my cost with the other, it's not $1 million question that's a shopper on the line. They're probably shopping and they're looking over numbers and they want to get the best deal. So I know this already. So again, an average salesperson would, beat around the bush and steer away from that. They don't want to address it up front. But a great salesperson addresses it as many times as possible to get rid of it. So if I know Alok's going to shop me, then I'm going to mention why Alok shouldn't shop me at least 3 to 5 times during that interaction. I call it planting the seed. If you plant the seed about something 4 to 5 times, it's most likely going to grow into a plant and it's not going to be on that client's mind anymore. So what are the cues that you have for your product or service? I'll let somebody come off mute again, if you may, and tell me one of the objections that you know now, like the back of your hand. Like if you have a client on the line, it's something that you feel or you're about to get. What's one of those objection examples? We need a brave soul out there.
Not the right time.
Not the right time. And who said that? Could you state your name for me?
Still Alok.
Alok, thanks so much, man. You're a brave man and I appreciate you. So who tells you it's not the right time, and how do you know this objection's coming? It's not the right time. How do you know that that's coming? Do you have any cues on the call that you could figure out that it's not a good time for them?
I usually don't get that much, but I would say really weren't a good fit for the product.
They weren't a good fit for the product. So what are some cues that would let you know that somebody thinks it's not the right time for them? Like some of them that I would think of as maybe they're having financial issues. They ask a lot of questions about the cost. How much is this going to cost me? Do I have to pay it up front? How do you collect payments? Do you do payment plan? Like if somebody tells me those 3 or 4 questions, in my mind as a salesperson, I know it's probably not the right time for them financially, and I'm probably going to get a cost objection. So instead of beating around the bush and running away from that objection, I'm going to address it with a local client as many times as possible before I get to the closing. And that's what I want to talk to you about next. So you prepare for the objections by knowing them. If you know the objections and you address them, the client or customer shouldn't hit you with them, or at least not as often as they do. I always tell people, if I gave you $1 million briefcase and I told you to freeze time and whatever you're selling, halfway through your sales interaction, I told you for $1 million, could you guess the objection that you're going to get at the end of the sale? What would you guess? And then after you think of what you would guess, why would you guess that? And if you could think of the cues and the reasons why you would guess that's the objection, well, that's the way you know the objection. So for me, what I do in my sales, instead of running away from the objections or not thinking of them at all, I actually think of them more than the client. I like to dabble in the shopping. I like to dabble. Does your wife or does your husband know about this? Are they on board? Are they going to be happy with saving this much money? I like to dabble in the weight. Hey, Martha, I know you haven't, bought a new car in the last 10 years. The reason why it's so important that you get one now is because your car has blank issue and blank issue. And then, 20 minutes later, I know it's been 10 years since that last car that you had. Right now, the great news is we're doing this for $0 down. We're going to roll everything into this loan for you. So you don't got to pay any money. I know it's very tight for you right now. We don't know what's going to change in the future, but right now it's definitely a good time to get this done for you. So I'm glad you came to my shop today. Like I'm just giving you some raw examples. I don't sell cars or landscape or anything like that, but these are some things I would think of. So know your objection that's coming. Guess what it is and address it before it comes, so that way it doesn't come at all. And then you get to eliminating the objection. How do we eliminate the objection, right? So if we know the objection, what do? So I'm not sure, how many people here are fans of Eminem. I'm from Detroit, so I'm a big fan of Eminem. I did watch his movie 8 Mile. Hopefully everybody watched 8 Mile. If you didn't watch 8 Mile, I'll share a quick story with you about that movie. There was a rap battle at the end of the movie, and the picture's right here if you guys see it. And that rap battle, B Rabbit, which was Eminem's name in that movie, he had to say a rap against this guy. And before he came up, instead of saying a rap about this guy, he said a rap about himself. He literally talked crap about himself for about 8 minutes, and then he threw the mic to the other guy. So when the other guy got the microphone, he had nothing left to say about Eminem B. Rabbit, because Eminem B. Rabbit said everything about himself before the guy could. And I think that relates to sales, because in a sales interaction, if I could say everything that you're about to say before you say it, then you no longer have the need to say it. So if I tell you 5 times why you shouldn't shop, you're probably not going to hit me with a shopping at the end. If I tell you 5 times why this is a good time to do it right now, you're probably not going to wait at the end. And if I tell you 5 times why your husband or wife is going to love this option, you're probably not going to spouse me at the end. So think about the objections you get and repeating it many times throughout your interaction and making sure the client's comfortable about it. But another analogy that I use is the moles. If you see this picture with the moles, picture your sale interaction like a whack-a-mole game. And imagine your job is to whack every single mole before it comes out of the ground. And the moles are the objection. How would you whack every single mole before it comes up? How would you kill the shopping objection? How would you kill I'm working with somebody already? How would you crush the waiting objection? And how would you crush all these objections throughout the phone call? And lastly, think of your sales interaction like a back massage. A good masseuse is a masseuse that can get rid of every single knot in my back when the massage is done. Ideally, I want to feel a smooth back. I don't want to have any knots in it. A bad masseuse, which I've had this massage before, is somebody who, when you walk out, your knots are even worse than when you came in. It feels like they're coming out of your back and you can barely move. That's a bad back massage. Well, I think that relates to sales as well. I think a good salesperson isolates all the knots, which are the objection, before the close. And I think an average or a bad salesperson leaves knots in the client's back, leaves objections on their mind, doesn't fully address things or clarify things before they're done. And I put here exhaustion because you should repeat things till the client gets exhausted of hearing them. Sometimes my clients tell me, Ace, I got you, man. I'm not shopping you. I really have a meeting in 5 minutes that I have to go to. Call me in 45 minutes exactly. We'll get this done. I'm only working with you. You're my guy. Because I've talked about it so many times that they now trust me, and I've built a value with them of why they should do business with me. So when I think about eliminating the objection, those are the things I think of. So if your sale was an 8 Mile movie, or if your sale was a whack-a-mole game, if your sale was a back massage, draw a back on a piece of paper and write down the knots that happened in your sale. And then write down 1 to 3 ways you could isolate that with people on every single interaction and start isolating it. And what you'll find is you're not going to get that objection as many times as you thought you would have or as you have been getting it because you're addressing it a lot more. It's just, common sense and Mother Nature. If I tell you 10 times, hey, you're coming to my house this Saturday, we're going to have beers. Then on Tuesday, I tell you, please come to my house this Saturday, man. We're going to have beers. I already paid for the pay-per-view. Then I tell you on Wednesday, hey, what kind of food do you want? You want, pizza? You want spaghetti? You want veggies? What kind of food you want? You still on that diet? Then I tell you on Thursday, hey, what kind of whiskey you drink? Then on Friday, are you bringing your wife with you to my house? You're probably not going to just not show up to my house on Saturday because I've exhausted you about coming to my house on Saturday. It means a lot more now that I've brought it to your attention so many times. And I think it's the same exact thing with objections that we have. Then we get to the close. So, all right, Ace, I built a relationship. I opened doors. I laughed. I shared stories. I've exhausted the objection and squashed it and crushed it and told them many times why it shouldn't be an objection anymore, why they shouldn't shop, why they should work with me. Well, now how do I close it? Well, now you leverage a relationship and the emotion, and you tie it into the close. Like you were telling me that, the kid's condition was the main thing, and this gentleman probably works on his coaching business because of his kids. So on this particular sale, after I give you the details of the coaching, Alok, we're going to be doing your coaching. The fee is going to be this once a month. With that fee, you get me once a week, training you, mentoring you, listening to your calls, making sure that your business is growing. Once your business grows and we double your sales, you could finally get, that playhouse you want for your son. The year after that, once your business triples, you could finally buy that vacation home in Florida for you and your wife that you've been telling me about, the one that's so important to you, and then year 5, you could do A, B, and C. So the number one thing of a good close to me is tying it into the emotion. I have, $300,000 spent in this backyard on this pool in this landscape, but I didn't buy the pool because of the pool. I bought the pool so my son could enjoy this pool. I spent money on it so that my family could enjoy this. So if you were a salesperson selling me the pool, which by the way, I had many of them call me, and I only work with the one that tied to my emotion because he was the one that I trusted the most. And he's the one that tied it in the most for me. So this relates to me as well. But it was, if you call me and you tie it into how's your son going to feel, jumping in that pool for the first time? How are you going to enjoy getting off work at 5 o'clock and enjoying that pool with him every single day? That's what I care about. That's where my emotions are engaged in the sale. But if you just tell me, hey, so we got your pool, it's 20 by 40, it's 8 feet deep, it's $150,000 with a diving board. There is no warranty on it, and you could only pay by check. Like, how am I going to feel about that sale compared to you tying it into my vision and my goals and all the reasons I'm doing this for? And now think about that with your sale. Like I said, doesn't matter if you sell landscape, cars, pools, or mortgages, or insurance, or coaching. Everything ties to an emotion. The reason why humans are the way they are is because they wake up in the morning and they have a dream and they have a goal and they have something they want to accomplish deep down. What is that? Think about yourself. Why do you wake up in the morning? Why are you here on Close Your School right now when 70% of the world out there is not engaged and not getting better and focused on things that don't matter and watching the Johnny Depp case live? Why are you here, improving your business, improving yourself? Because you have a deeper why. You have a purpose. And if I could tie into your purpose and your deeper why, I'm going to take your emotions to a nice place, and humans buy off emotion. So figure out what the emotion is behind your product or service, and I say tie it to the close. That's the most important part. Tie your service or product to that close every single time. As you're going, get rid of objections again. Even if I told Alok, 10 times not to shop, right before I present the coaching to him, I'm going to say, hey, I know you're looking at 3 different coaches, Alok. Again, I told you many reasons why you shouldn't work with them, but here's the final reason. I'm going to give you my cell phone number. You could call me 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, whenever you need me. I know how important this is for you and your kids, so I'm squashing the shopping objection again while I'm presenting my option. Alok's going to feel uncomfortable telling me after all that, hey, I still want to shop you. I still need to talk to the other coach, because the other coach, odds are they never gave a shit about your kids and they never talked to you about them, and they're not offering you their cell phone number in 7 days a week. So I'm building my competitive advantage, and it's not like I'm doing it to be a slime ball and I'm just trying to talk about your kids because I'm trying to close you. I actually care. I have emotions shared with my clients. They send me pictures of their family. I have clients that are going through, things too in their life, and I really help them. Even if I can't help them with my product or service, I help them off the clock all the time because I'm just a good human being. And when you're a good human being and you have good karma, good things come back to you. So leverage your emotion in the relationship, get rid of objections again as you go, and always assume the business. I'm never going to ask, so would you like to do business with me today? I always say, so here's the next steps. Boot up your computer for me. Let me know what kind of card you want to use for a deposit. or we're going to get your life going in the right way for you. We're going to get your summer started right for you. We're going to get your kids that play set for you. I assume the business till I'm proven wrong. You know why? Because the worst case scenario is you're going to get an objection. Well, even if you didn't assume the business, you're going to get an objection anyway. So it really doesn't matter to me. I'm going to assume the business every single time. And if you still get an objection, it's not a real objection unless you close 3 times. I have a rule. If you haven't closed 3 times, you haven't closed. The first time, Alok tells me, things are, tight for me financially. Okay, so what part of my product or service is making things tighter for you financially? Is it the upfront deposit or the monthly fee? Well, it's a monthly fee. Okay, the monthly fee is this much. If we could increase your sales by this much, do you think it would be worth it for you then? Yes, it would. Okay, so as long as I could increase your sales by this much, the monthly fee is not going to be an issue, right? Yep. All right, perfect. Let's do the monthly fee for the first month. I'll cancel the 1 year up front. You'll pay as you go. We'll make sure that we make more sales for you, so the monthly fee is worth it. And then if it's still an issue later, we could address it then. But other than that, this makes a ton of sense for you. We're going to double your sales. We're going to get your kids that play set. Put your trust in me. I've never failed yet, Alok. I'm letting you know that right now. And here's the next steps. Boot up your computer and blah, blah, blah. Go for the close again. And if I get another objection, I go back. And, I always say acknowledge the objection because acknowledging is important. Respond to the objection because responding is important. And then most importantly, pivot back to the benefits and the emotion and why they're on the phone with you. You close back on the emotion and you put them back in their happy place every single time for the close. And a lot of times when you close 3 times, you get behind the smoke screen. A smoke screen is a fake objection. I always hear people tell me, somebody's screaming in the background. That's a good open door. Is everything okay? Whoever that was, I would dig into that and figure out what's going on and see how I could help you in your life. But a smoke screen is a fake objection. So if somebody tells me they want to wait, then I say, okay, that's great, John. So what is waiting going to do for you? Well, I just want to make sure I'm getting the best deal. Okay, so now it's not about waiting anymore. It's about getting the best deal. So then I say, okay, so it's really not that you want to wait. I mean, the solution makes sense. You just want to make sure you're getting the best deal, correct? Yeah. All right, perfect. Let me tell you why this is the best deal. I compared it with a lot of other competitors in my space. Here's what they're doing. Here's what I'm doing. Here's the service I have. Here's the service they have. Here's the cost they have. Here's the cost I have. Here's why I'm better. And here's why I'm the one for you. And most importantly, you told me the most important thing for you is getting that dream house. I'm going to be the one to get it for you. I'm printing the picture and putting it on my desk with you. I want to make sure I get you that vacation home in Nashville, Tennessee. I want to make sure I open up that second studio for you. I know that's important to you. You want 2 places, right? And I go back to that emotion and I close back on that emotion every single time. And then after the 3 times, Ace, Alex, Ali, whatever they want to call me, because I got 3 names. I get it. I love everything. I really need the time. If that's the case, and I've tried everything to close you down and I still can't, then you never burn a bridge. And you guys seem like some high-level salespeople, so you probably never do burn a bridge. But I'll give you a story about burning bridges, okay? This was 4 years ago. I just started my journey on investment properties, and I had a realtor that asked me, could I help you with investment properties? It was actually a family friend. He took me to see a house. I liked the house. I got cold feet before buying the house. True story, my fault. I know realtors spend a lot of time. I know he must have been frustrated. I would have been too. But he burnt the bridge with me because I called him like 2 months later and I said, hey, man, I'm sorry about last time. It was, the first time I was buying a house in that area. I wasn't sure what was going on. I'm ready to go this time. I have a nice house that I like. And he told me, you wasted my time last time. With all due respect, I'm not going to go with you to see this house. When you want to buy it, let me know and I'll come there. And it's really a messed up story because I ended up getting introduced to another realtor. And that realtor has purchased 10 homes with me so far and still counting. And I always think back to that story, to that guy, just because I wasted his time one time, he burnt the bridge with me and he cut me off, which is something you should never do. He lost commission on 10 sales, some of them over $1 million each. How much money did he lose for me in the last 4 years? Because he played with emotion, the wrong emotion. I'm telling you to play with a client's emotion in a good way, meaning connect with their emotion, figure out their emotional goals and connect to them. Never play with your negative emotions as a salesperson. I had another person that used to get upset when a client used to wait or shop them. Their energy would go down, their tone would go down. All right, just call me when you're ready, and they'd hang up. And I said, you just blew the whole house that you built. You had one more brick to put, and you knocked down the whole house. You do the opposite of that. 12th round swing, I call it, power swing. You give your most powerful statement or your most powerful closing right there at the end. So if I told Alok all of those things and he still told me, Alex, you're a great coach. I just need some time to think about it. I'm not going to make any decisions today. Stop pushing me. I back off and I go with the 12th round swing. I say, Alok, thanks so much for telling me that. Sorry, I was not trying to be pushy at all, man. I'm very passionate about what I do. Here's what I'll tell you. I'm going to send you an email. Read the testimonials from my last 10 clients. Look at the fees and everything that I broke down for you. I'm even going to try to get you a discount up front here, and I'll try to put it together for you in the email. I know that if I help you, look, you're going to help your kids out. I know if I help you, you're going to get that place set. I know I'm going to help you get that vacation home because I'm going to fight with it with you. And if I don't help you and your sales don't get better, I don't want your money. This is a win-win situation for us. I only win when you win. So listen, take the time to think about it tonight. Don't make any rash decisions. Talk to the wife, Martha, about it. Let me know how everything goes. Show her the email. I'll even send a picture of me and my family. I want you to put a picture behind the voice. I want you to know who I am and what I fight for. And I'll call you first thing in the morning when you have a clear head, and we'll go from there. I do appreciate your time. I'll also send you a text with my cell number in case you need anything from me. All right? Get off the phone call. Send them a nice long email. Throw some pictures in there about our conversation. Shoot them a text. Next day in the morning, shoot them another text. Good morning, Alok. Hope you have your coffee. Let me know if your wife has any questions. Shoot them another email, and then call them again in the afternoon tomorrow, because I'm never going to burn that bridge. And even if Alok the next day tells me, I already signed up with another coach, I'm not doing it with you, and I can't take that back from him and it's too late for me, I'm still not going to burn the bridge. I'm going to say, Alok, I'm so sorry to hear that. I really wanted to help you. Here's what I'll do, man. I'm not going to stop following up with you. I'm passionate about this. I'm going to send you my information. I'm going to put an appointment in next month, and I'm going to see if it's worth it for you to talk to me next month. And if you're not happy with the coaching, I'm still going to be here for you. Even though you didn't pay me, even though I'm not your coach, I still care about you. I care about what you said. And then I'll send another email and a text. And a lot of times, most of my business comes from these things. One man's trash or one woman's trash is another person's treasure. And a lot of people that get these interactions, they say, F it, screw it. They withdraw or deny that client, never look back at them again. You know what I do? I never burn a bridge. I give them all my power, all my heart, all my emotion. At the end, I let them know that I'm still there for them. And so many times I get called back saying, hey, man, you were right. That process sucked with that other person. You still have that available for me? But the only reason I get this business that comes back to me is because of the relationship and because I never burnt the bridge. And even sometimes when somebody picks somebody else, or it's not the time for them, or they can't do it financially, they send me a referral. You know why? Because they still like me. The relationship was still there. Say never burn a bridge and don't blow down your house. Save it every single time. Does somebody have a question out there?
No, but I was going to say, it's awesome. Any questions?
Yeah, so that was all I had for you guys. I mean, when it comes down to, closing and objections, I think those are the three things. I'll recap it for you here, just if anybody lost it. The first thing is make them like you, establish a relationship. That's what matters. The second thing is get rid of all objections as you go. Don't wait for a brick to hit you on your forehead. Get rid of the bricks from the ceiling so they don't fall at all. And number three was close with emotion, passion, and never burn a bridge, because you never know when you may need to cross it. Acez Academy, if anybody needs to find me online, follow me on the gram. Love to have you guys in my community as well. I love the Bomb Squad, and Brad B Money is a big mentor of mine. So thank you guys.
Dude, Ace goes to battle every day with what he's talking about. I like how organized you are, buddy.
Thank you, brother.
Now, again, I had to go do something real quick, so I didn't hear all of it, but the recap you just gave, I would agree to all of it. You guys got to understand, when it comes to sales, the vibe you give off is going to play a big part. So if you have a nervous vibe or a awkward vibe, sometimes awkward vibes actually help. I saw some people this one dude that used to sell cars, he was a little bit autistic, just a smidge autistic. And he had no problem singing for people anytime. It was a little awkward. It worked for him. But usually that confidence that you have, that vibe that you have in the very, very beginning, usually you'll sense it from people that are really good. That's how you know you're good, because you'll have that same vibe. So how do we get that vibe's the question. Ace, how would you approach somebody?
Yeah, so it's similar to the blind date thing. I don't know if you missed it, but I was talking about when you go on a blind date, what do you do to prepare yourself for that date? You have some jokes lined up, you look good, you smell good, you feel good. What do you do to get ready for an interview? So many times I interview people and the person I interviewed disappears right after. I'm like, hey, what happened to the person in the interview that wore a suit, that made me laugh, that was confident? They lose that confidence. So I would say whatever things you bring with you to an interview, whatever things you bring with you to a blind date, don't stop those things in the job. Don't lose your personality during the job. Keep that same personality. Why do your friends like you? Why does your family like you? Show that. Lighten up a little and just connect with people. And if you can't do that, then find what's important to them and go deep on that, because people love talking about what's important to them. You could talk to me about my pool for a half an hour and tell me some tips and tricks about my pool. I don't care if I like you or not. I'm going to listen to that and I'm going to find value in that. And if you provide value to me, what's that?
Did you just get a new pool?
Oh yeah, babe. This is ready to go, brother. Michigan, but we could use it for a couple of months. Could you see it or no?
Does it have Pebble Tech bottom?
I have no idea what the hell that is, but you could talk to me about it for half an hour and I'll buy it from you.
You don't have a Pebble Tech bottom?
They poured concrete in it. I don't know what a Pebble Tech bottom is.
Dude, you went the concrete model?
Yeah, concrete.
Dude, I need to call you right after this call. We'll get you a $60,000 upgrade, get you all Pebble Teched up.
Here we go. Stack up the debts. Let's go.
No, I'm not in the pool business, but that's what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Start building rapport, have enthusiasm, have a sense of humor. In my opinion, folks, be organized. Okay. Again, it's not often that the disorganized are successful. And again, I'm disorganized and I'm successful. But I hire people to keep shit organized. So you can be disorganized and still get away with shit, but it's better when boom, you are clearly a professional in your industry. Like you are an expert. I like to say expert rather than professional, because what I mean is when you're talking to me about building courses online, for example, you already know I know more than everybody else out there. By the time you're done talking to me, you're like, dude, I want this dude to help me. This dude knows what the hell he's doing. This dude knows the business. This dude knows the game. This dude's freaking connected. You want me to help you because you basically know that I know what the hell I'm talking about. That's what you have to establish in that first conversation. And unfortunately, there's only one trainer that I know of that trains the opposite. He trains you to be confused for some reason. And quite frankly, I don't like the confused salesman approach myself. That's just me. You ever teach people to be confused, Ace?
No, I teach them the opposite. Fake it till you make it, like when I did mortgages, people got in mortgages they didn't know. Like, it doesn't matter. Just figure out why somebody needs to save money. Figure out why somebody needs cash. That's what's important. So I'd say, figure out what's important to them and just rely on that. And then you could fake it till you make it with everything else. And you could put them on hold, or you could call them back and you could get them the answers. As long as you eventually have the answers, they don't need to know that you're clueless about everything. That's a great question, Brad. You know what? I wrote it down for you here. I'm going to figure that one out for you here just in a moment, but tell me about this. Move your attention somewhere else, and I come back to that question once I have the answer. Shoot a text, get the answer, come back to it.
Who's got questions for Ace? Who's got comments? Who's got thumbs up? Kudos for Ace for sharing his time with us, dropping that knowledge on us left and right. I like it. Well, dude, if there's any way I can help you, you know me. I'll be happy to.
Yes, sir. We'll be down there soon to shoot some leadership stuff at your studio.
Yeah. You got leadership frameworks as well?
Yeah, leadership's ready to go. I just got to go out there again.
Awesome.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Ace, I got a question. Yeah. Great presentation. You're very connected with people. I'm also prospecting on LinkedIn, doing cold DMs. I have a script, and a lot of people have connected with me. So that's been really cool. I'm hitting sales managers because what I sell is a training program to help software teams get more enterprise agreements and 25% more sales. Because I was a former IT bureaucrat. I know how to get my way around systems and get people to their sales. So a common objection I hear is I have to talk to my boss or my partner or my manager or things like that. So I don't really have that much of a relationship with them because I've cold DM'd them. But I'm preparing a couple of funnels and things to try to warm things up. Just wondering if you had any thoughts or suggestions on my approach.
Yeah. So what's your approach right now when they tell you that? What do you do?
Well, what I do is I get the name of the person. I get as much information as I can about them, about the pain points because they're sharing the information, and then I contact them. But I feel like I'm going into a big black hole, even though they have a problem.
Yeah. So what I do is leverage the relationship of the person you're talking to already that's responding back to you and try to come in as a friend of that person. So if I'm talking to you and I want to get connected to Brad and you tell me, well, Brad makes all the decisions. I say, okay, well, do you think, blank, and Blake would provide value to you and Brad? Getting a better IT system or a sales system to get you 25% commission. Do you think that would be better for you and Brad?
Yeah, right.
Okay, awesome. So why don't you do this to me? Could you do me a big favor? I want to talk to both of you guys together. I'm actually getting something together for you. Why don't you send him an email and just CC me on it, and let's see when he's available, and all three of us will talk together. See, now I'm trying to get past the gatekeeper by using you to get me in the gate and use your key. And You're not going to get a yeah every single time, but you are making it awkward on that person to tell you no, especially if you establish that relationship. And I say, well, no, I'm not going to email them. You do it. Like, I would sound like an asshole to say that to you. If you told me on LinkedIn, I'd email my CEO right now, because if you put me in that position, because I wouldn't want to, betray you or look like I don't care. So I would say try to maximize the relationship with the person you're talking to, and then kind of put them in a little uncomfortable corner and tell them, well, thanks so much for helping me. Last favor I have for you, could you just email him and CC me? And then let's see what time would work for all three of us to talk. I promise you this is going to be worth your time.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's a really good one because there are some real pain points there. So it's real. Yeah.
Because they're a lot more likely to answer their message than you, because they're not going to shaft their partner or their coworker. That would be a bad practice.
Right
And
on.
thank you for speaking up. I just want to say something to the group. I'm not sure how far you guys are in your sales career, but Brad always says old Alex Sharafi, and I was known as the annoying kid in all my sales careers because I was always the one that asked questions. I emailed the top producer. I wanted time with the CEO himself, the billionaires. I wanted time with them. And I used to email them. People thought, you crazy? You email? Yeah, I'm emailing him. I work under him. Why not? So I just advise you guys or push you guys to make yourself uncomfortable. And when you have guests on the show, squeeze out as much information as possible. And if you have any questions, make me uncomfortable and email me and ask me after the show. Be an absolute lunatic for your success. Don't let anything get in your way. Don't let nothing stop you. It's only you and your success and whatever you're going to allow to block you. So thank you for bringing up that question. I appreciate it.
Dude, it looks like you got a good book back there on your drink cart.
That inspired me to make my book. Yes, sir.
Got the old hard way copy, huh? All right.
Don't sue me, man. I kind of took your font style.
That's all right.
Yeah, the headstone guy's got a question.
Yes, sir. I love questions. Let's go. I've been waiting for these. Oh, you kind of went on mute. I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Perfect. So I sell headstones, and I was kind of going through and trying to. So one objection that I get, I do an intro call and then a demo call. And on the demo call is, I need to speak with, my 3 other siblings, or I need to speak with, my mom if the dad died, or, and usually it's like 2, 3, maybe even like 5 people. Usually it's just 2 or 3. And I kind of put myself in their shoes, and I'm like, well, shit, yeah, I get that, because, if my mom just died, like I'd have to talk to all my siblings too. Like I can't just, buy something, without them seeing it and knowing what we're getting, and all that. So I was trying to put myself in that situation where you're talking about trying to eliminate that objection before it gets brought up, because I know that if I get on a Zoom call with just one person, that's going to be the objection that comes up is I need to speak with, my 3 other siblings, or whatever. So I just wanted to see if you had any.
Yeah. And I mean, props to you. That's a tough business. Well, not tough to sell, but tough to be in, Everybody needs a headstone, right?
Typically what I do, like in that case, is I just try and schedule like a follow-up call, after they've, spoke with them. But, usually by then, the next day or 2 afterwards, it's, my sister's already called, 3 other places.
Correct. You want to get the business before anybody else. So what value do you provide as headstones? Why should I buy a headstone from you and nobody else?
So we say that we are way more efficient in our process. Everything that we do is from home. So you don't have to come into our shop. You don't have to waste your time. We'll save you time and money.
Okay. So you got good pricing, you're efficient, and I don't got to leave my house. Okay. So I would leverage those 3 things first in the relationship and in the interaction with somebody. So if you tell me I need to talk to my sister, I would say that before you say it. Again, 8 Mile play, right? If I know it's coming, I'm going to say it. I'd say, I'm sorry, is it Ashlyn? I'd say, hey, Ashlyn, man, I'm so sorry to hear about everything that's happened. God rest their soul. I know this is a big decision from you. You told me you have a brother and a sister, right?
Yep.
Obviously, right? Obviously, you have to talk to them. They all got to be on board. I want all the siblings on board. Just remember one thing with me. I need you to do me a favor. I'm going to make this as seamless for you as a process as possible. It's a crazy time in your life. And what I do is, I take out all the headache out of this process for you. As a matter of fact, you're not going to leave your house. None of your siblings are. I'm doing everything for you. It's going to be hand delivered, and I'm going to get you an email with all the different styles we have. What's your brother's email? What's your sister's email? You don't even have time to call them. Let me just send them the email right now. And what's their name and phone number as well? I'll shoot them a text, let them know the email came through, and I'll let them know you handled this for them. You see what I just did right there? I just made you uncomfortable. What are you going to tell me? No, you can't have their number? Even if you said that, I said, okay, what's their email then? If they don't want any phone call, and then at the end, 12th round swing, right? Hey, Ashton, I know you got to talk to them. And again, I'm so sorry about what happened. I'm going to make sure that I could, make this process as easy for you as possible. I'm going to be up 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, making sure this goes right for you. It's going to be the perfect stone. That's the least I could do for all your worries and all your troubles that your family's going through. And just do me a favor, please. I know it's a hard time, but when you talk to your sister and brother, just tell them check their email and pick one of these headstones out. I'm going to send it to you right now, okay? Like that's one way to go about it. But before that way, I'll try to get your sister and your brother's number. I'll send you guys a group text. Now we got a family chat and I'm in it with you. And I'm like, yo, you guys, you're very busy right now and things are going on in your family. Here's 3 pictures. Whenever you have the chance, take your time. Let me know which one works for you and I'll get the email out to you with the invoice. Just the fact that I'm in your family chat, you're doing business with me because nobody else is in a family chat with you, your brother and your sister.
Right.
Is it a little uncomfortable to ask? Yeah. Are you going to get no's? Yeah. But for every 5 people you say, what's your sister and brother's number? let me get them on board with us and make sure everybody loves this headstone because I know it's a family decision. You'll get 2 or 3 out of 5 yeses, and you'll get their phone numbers. And now you eliminated all those objections before they came, because now you're talking to their brother and sister before they shop you. And especially during a death, nobody wants to shop around for a cheap tombstone. They don't want to, talk to 10 people about the kind of stone they're going to be getting. So I tell you, in that scenario, try to involve yourself in the circle of influence who's in charge of making a decision, either by getting their phone numbers and names or sending an email with all of them on it, shooting a text next day in the morning, a text at night. Yeah, I sent you the email. Make sure you got it in the morning. Hey, let me know if there's anything else I could do for you. 2 days after that, hey, I found this and this out for you. I could do this and make it easier. Keep providing value to people. Now you're providing value. You're in their family chat. You're in their emails. You're omnipresent. Everywhere they go, they're thinking of Ashland, and they're not thinking about anybody else. So I tell you, do that. Do 50% of that, and you'll get rid of those objections.
Cool. Sounds good, man. Thanks.
You got it, man.
Well, good. Well, Ali, appreciate you, buddy.
Awesome. It's the last day of the month in crazy mortgage world right now. I got 100 people right now that I'm trying to help hit their goals. Bradley's important to me, so I'm always here for you, big dog. You guys are all important to me, so thanks for having the time. Follow on Instagram. I'd love to get you guys in my community and in my circle. And anything else you guys need, just let me know. Hit me up at any time. I don't mind. I like aggressive people that do whatever it takes to get what they want.